4. I defied the objections of family and friends, determined to pursue the girlfriend who had been disfigured in a car accident while saving her first love. Others mocked me as a sucker, but I didn't care. I worked day and night to earn enough for her plastic surgery and stayed by her side as she recovered from depression. But just before our wedding, while doing her laundry, I found a marriage certificate that had fallen from her pocket. The groom's name was that of her first love. I wanted to confront her immediately, but accidentally overheard her conversation with her best friend. I know Cyan once saved my life, but if Lin Yi doesn't marry me, he'll be forced into an arranged marriage by his family. I really don't want him to lose his freedom. As for Cyan, I'll have someone make a fake certificate to fool him later. Keep your mouth shut. At this moment, I felt plunged into an icy abyss. Silently, I changed the protagonist of the wedding scheduled 3 days later to be her and her first love. By the time she receives this surprise, I'll already be flying abroad, never to return. By Huan, back when you were disfigured in that car accident for Lin Yi, it was Cyan who sold his house, car, even his blood to save you. He loved you so deeply. Now on the eve of your wedding, you've registered your marriage with Lin Yi. How can you face Cyan? I know it's unfair to him, but I can't watch Lin Yi being forced by his family into a marriage alliance and losing his freedom forever. Listening to my girlfriend's detached, yet helpless voice through the door, I felt my entire body trembling as if plunged into an icy abyss. Moments ago, while doing her laundry, a marriage certificate had fallen out of her clothes. The groom's name was clearly written as Lin Yi, her first love. My heart felt crushed by boulders, the pain suffocating. Just as I was about to confront her, I inadvertently overheard this conversation. 5 years ago, Lin Yi had exaggerated a common cold to make Bai Huan drive medicine to him, resulting in her car accident. Terrified of responsibility, Lin Yi immediately fled abroad. At that time, she'd been critically injured with severe facial disfigurement and developed major depression. To take care of her, I stayed at the hospital day and night, exhausting all my savings for her treatment. I almost sacrificed everything I had to help her gradually emerge from the darkness. Never did I expect that even after she agreed to marry me, the one she truly loves would always be Lin Yi. I smiled bitterly and silently walked back to the guest room. Self-torturously staring at that marriage certificate, the two in the photo looked perfectly matched. They wore matching new Chinese-style outfits. Lin Yi's smile was radiant, while Bai Huan appeared somewhat cold and detached, yet their tightly pressed shoulders undeniably proved their intimately connected hearts. The certificate registration date was yesterday afternoon. Bai Huan said a friend needed help and asked her to come over. I curiously asked which friend, but she hesitated. When she returned, her gaze when looking at me seemed somewhat abnormal. At that time, I still presumptuously thought she was preparing a surprise for me, never imagining it was merely her guilty conscience over wrongdoing. Throughout these 5 years, I've never once considered leaving her. After all, it was me who accompanied her out of the hospital all those years ago, me who supported her through plastic surgeries to become beautiful and confident, me who held her tight during nightmares, and me who stayed with her throughout those dark times. But now, I've reached my limit. Swallowing the surging emotions in my throat, I call the wedding organizer. We're changing the groom to Lin Yi. Hey, a change? Do you have the new groom's measurements? We might need to tailor a new suit. Without thinking, I blurt out a series of numbers. During those years with Bai Huan, I'd heard countless stories about Lin Yi. She repeated them endlessly. Remember, keep the groom change confidential. Consider this surprise my final gift to Bai Huan. As I hang up, Bai Huan pushes open the door asking, "What shouldn't people know?" I answer calmly, "Work matters." She doesn't press further, just takes my hand and murmurs softly, "Ah Yan, our wedding is in 3 days. Don't always be busy with work. Rest more, and welcome our big day in your best condition." Looking at her tender expression, my heart ached with bitterness. I asked her earnestly, "A perfect wedding should unite two people deeply in love, right?" "Of course. Only having the kind of deep love we share can make a wedding truly meaningful." After saying this with a smile, Bai Huan cupped my face tenderly with confusion in her eyes. "Ah Yan, why ask that? Getting pre-wedding jitters? Don't worry, I love you. I'll never leave you in this lifetime." I smiled bitterly in my heart. Is getting a marriage certificate with someone else considered loving me? Noticing my odd state, Bai Huan was about to question further when her phone rang. Glancing at the screen, her face momentarily froze with icy resistance. After hesitating several seconds, she stood up to answer in a detached tone. "What is it?" Not knowing what was said on the other end, Bai Huan's tone grew colder. "Can't you handle such trivial matters yourself with hands and feet? My time is precious. I have no patience for your nonsense." After a few seconds of silence, the other party seemed to say something more. Bai Huan's expression gradually became hesitant and conflicted. A few seconds later, she hurriedly said, "I understand," and hung up. Before I could ask, Bai Huan apologized to me with a guilty look. "Ah Yan, I have urgent business to attend to. Wait for me at home, okay? I know. Deaded faintly. After she rushed out, I roughly understood the situation. The only man in this world who could make Bai Huan alternate between hatred and love, whose mere words could elicit such drastic attitude shifts, must be Lin Yi, who had abandoned her before. And I was like a third wheel intruding between them. Now that the original partner had returned, it was time for me to leave. Just as I was checking flights for the day after tomorrow, a WeChat contact request suddenly popped up. The note said, Lin Yi. After accepting, the other party immediately sent dozens of photos, all showing Bai Huan sitting beside him, lowering her head to peel shrimp and feed him. Bro, thanks for raising my girlfriend. Saw that earlier? She'll abandon you for me with just a crook of my finger. Be smart and fuck off. Staring at this blatant provocation, only profound sorrow remained in my heart. When Bai Huan and I were together, I always peeled shrimp for her and took care of her, afraid she'd get tired. Now with Lin Yi, she's the one actively serving. Whether someone loves you or not is truly evident. I pre-booked a flight overseas departing in 3 days, then called my secretary. I'll expand our overseas market in 3 days. You're temporarily in charge. I won't return for years. Bai Huan, this time I'm setting you free. After settling company matters, I started clearing out my belongings from the house. Since choosing to leave, I'll make a clean break. Simultaneously, Lin Yi kept bombarding my WeChat with boasts. Huan is accompanying me shopping and even bought me an expensive suit. Please don't get angry, okay? I turned off my phone, took down the wedding photo hanging on the bedroom wall, and threw it into the trash bin. When preparing to order takeout, I saw Bai Huan sent me a photo of her meal. Ian, I'm having dinner with clients tonight. Remember to eat properly at home. If I ignored that the photo was from old archives, she would still be that kind, gentle girlfriend who used to give me a sense of security. Unfortunately, I had seen through all the disguises. I didn't reply. After ordering food, I packed all the couple outfits in the wardrobe and scheduled a pickup for recycling. My phone buzzed again with another message from Lin Yi. Now we've returned to revisit our alma mater. You must not know this. This tree is where Huan and I shared our first kiss. I turned off my phone, opened my computer, and submitted the procedures for going abroad. While receiving a verification code, another photo and message from Lin Yi popped up. We found the confession envelope buried in the soil back then. Huan wrote that she would only love me in this lifetime. Did you see it? This frequent display of affection continued until dusk. Instead of waiting for Bai Huan like before, I simply lay down to sleep. After some unknown length of time, the bedroom light clicked on as Bai Huan gently pushed the door open. Softly she asked, Ian, are you asleep? I was startled awake. As I sat on the bed in a daze, she settled at my bedside again and coaxed pitifully. You didn't wait for me today. I was busy with work and came back late today, sorry. Though she apologized sincerely, I just yawned and waved my hand. Never mind, let's sleep. Bai Huan looked dejected, seeing I wasn't paying attention to her explanation. Just as she started to lift the blanket, her peripheral vision suddenly fixed on the wall. Where's the wedding photo? Why is it gone? He stared blankly, scanned the entire room, and asked in confusion. Why is the house so empty? A lot of things are missing. Did you tidy up? Oh, I accidentally broke them while cleaning. The wedding photos and unnecessary decorations are all stored in the storage room. I casually explained, reaching to turn off the light. Let's sleep. I'm tired. Bai Huan felt something was off, though she couldn't pinpoint exactly what. She moved to hug me and said softly, Ian, I'll go with you to check the wedding venue tomorrow, okay? I declined calmly. I have things to do tomorrow. We'll go another day. With that, I switched off the light. As Bai Huan was about to lie down, her phone screen lit up. After hesitating for a few seconds, she tucked in my blanket corner and left the room. The next morning when I woke up, I found a heart-shaped breakfast Bai Huan had prepared for me. Instead of joyfully taking photos to commemorate it like before, I casually took 2 bites before tossing it into the trash. While driving to the company to retrieve documents, I spotted a familiar figure at the entrance, surrounded by pointing and whispering employees. Isn't this the scumbag who abandoned Sister Huan back then? Everyone knows Sister Huan got disfigured in that car accident while saving him. And he just skipped town immediately, afraid to take responsibility. Lin Yi, are you even a man? You shameless bastard. How dare you come back? What gives you the nerve? Lin Yi stood with his head bowed, face pale, tears hanging at the corners of his eyes. He shook his head pleadingly. It wasn't like that. I had no choice back then. Please, call Huan for me. The employees pushed him disgustedly. Get lost. If you don't leave now, we're calling security. At that moment, Bai Huan rushed forward and shouted sharply. Stop this immediately. She quickly shielded Lin Yi, angrily reprimanding the crowd. Lin Yi isn't as bad as you think. One more act of bullying, and you're all fired. Get back to work now. Soon, the crowd dispersed. Lin Yi called out to Bai Huan with a mix of grievance and emotion in his voice. but she suddenly turned to glare at him with fury. Are you an idiot? You came here without even calling me. When they insult you, can't you just walk away? Why insist on enduring this humiliation? Though her tone was harsh, her words overflowed with heartfelt concern. She then pulled Lin Yi toward the elevator while muttering, You haven't eaten breakfast, have you? I'll take you out. The irony was, she passed right by me without even noticing my presence. For 2 days after completing the handover at the company, I stayed home working on my immigration plans. Bai Huan, who shared the same roof with me, remained completely oblivious to my changed demeanor. Instead, she used overtime work as an excuse to go on dates with Lin Yi. Lin Yi, who kept sending messages trying to provoke me, finally completely lost control after sending over 1,000 messages without receiving any response. Xian, you truly are a spineless turtle. Huan spends every day dating me, yet you don't care at all? Are you even a man? By the way, I kissed Huan today, and she didn't get angry. Do you know what that means? Even though she's nominally your girlfriend, her heart belongs to me. I still didn't reply, busy purchasing items for my upcoming trip abroad and memorizing vocabulary words. As for Bai Huan, although she maintained her usual gentle demeanor towards me, I could clearly sense the change in her mood. The smiles on her face grew more frequent, and her makeup and style regained their former charm. I guessed that her misunderstanding with Lin Yi had been resolved, entering the passionate phase of their relationship. But these matters no longer concerned me. Soon came the eve of the wedding. Bai Huan surprisingly returned home early to discuss tomorrow's wedding arrangements, but I preoccupied myself with overseas financial news on my computer, absent-mindedly responding to her. This time, Bai Huan finally noticed the change in me with belated realization. Why are you looking at these? Are you going on a business trip abroad? You're never too old to learn. I didn't answer directly. Just as Bai Huan was about to inquire further, her phone rang abruptly. A fleeting look of bashfulness crossed her face as she retreated to her room to chat with Lin Yi. When dawn broke the next day, Bai Huan, who should have gone for bridal makeup, insisted on leaving early in the morning. Yin, there's urgent business I must attend to. Go wait for me at the wedding venue first. I promise I won't miss our ceremony. Love you. I grunted a non-committal response. The moment she left, I dragged my suitcase straight to the airport. While waiting to board, Lin Yi sent another provocative message. Xian, now I see through you clearly. Playing the coward all this time. Weren't you just afraid today's wedding would fall through? Too bad. Just one call from me is all it takes to make Huan come running back. I'll personally attend as your groomsman today. No need to thank me. After all, you've helped Huan so much. You're our great benefactor. This time, I didn't ignore his taunts like before. For the first time, I typed out a few words and sent them. No need. I wish you both happiness. Lin Yi immediately sent back several question marks. I didn't engage with him further. Soon, when it was time to board, Bai Huan suddenly called me. Ian, I'm at the wedding venue. Where are you? I even brought you a groomsman today. Let me introduce you. Before I could respond, her tone suddenly turned odd and shocked. Xian, what's going on? Why does the banner say the groom is Lin Yi? Did the organizers make a mistake? This is my final gift to you, Bai Huan. We're breaking up. After saying this, I decisively removed my SIM card, snapped it in half, and tossed it into the trash. Without looking back, I boarded the plane. At the wedding venue, Bai Huan stared at the abruptly ended call, panic gripping her heart. She felt as though something critically important was slipping away. With trembling hands, she dialed again, only to hear the automated message. The number you have dialed is powered off. Ian, what's happening? Her voice trembling. She kept dialing my number, but received no response. At this moment, the organizer approached. Miss Bai, the wedding is ready. The ceremony can begin soon. Why is the groom Lin Yi? I clearly remember telling you the groom should be Xian. Bai Huan interrogated with trembling intensity, her voice shaking. The organizer patiently explained. Oh, this was all arranged by Mr. Xian. Is this Mr. Lin Yi? Your custom-made groom suit is ready in the fitting room. You can try it on. Lin Yi standing nearby showed slight surprise, but more triumphant glee. Feigning concern, he whispered, How did this happen? Huan, did Xian misunderstand something? Maybe we. He reached out to comfort her, but was sharply pushed away. Bai Huan rebuked tearfully. What are you doing? I. Lin Yi's eyes darted craftily as he feigned regret and sighed. Huan, I didn't want you to be this upset. I've probably figured out what happened today. But I truly never imagined that Xian, who always appeared so upright, would abandon you at the wedding. No wonder when I last saw him. Mid-sentence, he deliberately covered his mouth as if accidentally spilling secrets. Though Lin Yi's words were veiled, Bai Huan urgently pressed for answers. What did you see Yin doing? Lin Yi pretended to struggle with himself before reluctantly uttering. Dating another woman. What? No. Impossible. Yin would never do such things. I need to confront him. Bai Huan pushed him away, ready to storm off in agitation. Lin Yi grabbed her arm, coaxing gently. Huan, Cyan changed the wedding to pair us together. His intention couldn't be clearer. He wants to end things. Since things have come to this, Cyan clearly doesn't want you to keep pestering him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have transferred the wedding to me. Actually, through these days of interaction, I can see you still have feelings for me. Why don't we let this mistake become reality and accept Cyan's kind gesture? He initially thought Bai Huan would compromise after a few seconds of hesitation, but to his shock, she suddenly slapped him hard across the face the next instant. Shut up. If you dare block me again, Lin Yi, don't blame me for being ruthless. With that, Bai Huan rushed out furiously, her eyelids reddening to the point of bleeding. She kept dialing the phone repeatedly with no response, then immediately hurried to the company to question the secretary. Secretary Liu, where's the boss? Where did he go? Secretary Liu looked puzzled at Bai Huan's distraught appearance. Didn't the boss tell you? He's already left the country. Left the country? Bai Huan staggered backward, all color draining from her face. At that very moment, I had just disembarked from the plane and was taking a taxi to the reserved hotel. But then I saw a WeChat message from Secretary Liu. Boss, Bai Huan came looking for you, demanding to know your whereabouts and new contact information. I've refused several times, but she still refuses to leave. I was slightly surprised. I had already prepared the wedding for her and Lin Yi. Shouldn't they be busy with their newlywed happiness? Why come looking for me? I originally intended to cut ties with Bai Huan completely, but Secretary Liu's message was filled with reluctance, and I didn't want to cause him more trouble. So I told him to give my contact information to Bai Huan. True enough, Bai Huan stopped pestering Secretary Liu and started bombarding my phone with calls. After settling into the hotel, I finally answered. Before I could speak, Bai Huan urgently questioned me. Cyan, where are you? Why didn't you come to our wedding? Do you know how worried I've been? As your girlfriend, I actually have to get your contact information from others. The girl who had always been gentle with me was showing this angry side for the first time in front of me. I was somewhat surprised, but more than anything, deeply helpless. I've already made things clear with you, Bai Huan. Let's break up. I gave up the wedding to you and Lin Yi. Isn't that enough? I hope you two will be happy. Bai Huan's voice trembled. Why give it to me and Lin Yi? I love you. Yan, why are you breaking up with me? I don't agree. I truly don't understand why she's still pretending at this point. Finally, not wanting to waste any more time, I said calmly. You and Lin Yi got married, didn't you? There was a long silence on the other end. Bai Huan asked hoarsely, cautiously. You knew everything. Please let me explain. Don't bother explaining. That day when you re-talking to your best friend on the phone, I was right outside the door. And I picked up the marriage certificate that fell out of your pocket then. I continued in an even tone. Between me and Lin Yi, you've already made your choice, haven't you? No. Yan, you saved my life. That's why I'm where I am today. I'm begging you, give me another chance. I can divorce Lin Yi right now, I swear. Bai Huan's voice grew more urgent, choked with sobs. I just sighed. Let's part on good terms. Then I hung up. Over these 5 years, I gave her my whole heart, yet never won hers. I'm tired now. I finally understand. Forced love is meaningless. After eating, I received texts from Bai Huan. Yan, I truly can't live without you. You've done so much for me all these years. I vowed to stay with you forever. Give me one more chance, okay? Let me repay all the kindness you've shown me. I replied, no need for repayment. This settles all debts and affections. No more ties. No more entanglements. I stopped responding to her subsequent messages. Didn't even open them. Just busied myself with work. At this moment, Bai Huan seemed utterly devastated. She drank day and night at home, lashing out at Lin Yi whenever he visited. Helpless, Lin Yi sought her best friend to intervene. As soon as her friend arrived, Bai Huan broke down, weeping with despair and sorrow. Clutching her friend, she cried. Shan, what do I do? Yan doesn't want me anymore. He actually told me to go hold a wedding with Lin Yi. He really doesn't love me now. Her friend Chang Shan sighed in disappointment. Huan, I warned you not to do this, but you wouldn't listen. Cyan's reaction. Could it be he found out about your marriage license? Bai Huan nodded tearfully. That day when we were on the phone, he was outside the door. He saw the marriage certificate. Chang Shan fell silent for a long moment before saying helplessly, any man would lose his mind hearing that. Then, what did you do in the following days? Perhaps there's still room for reconciliation if he considers your past bond. Upon hearing this, Bai Huan subconsciously began to recall her interactions with me over the past few days. Gradually, her face grew increasingly pale. Only now did she belatedly realize that I had been silently withdrawing from her since that day. But what about her? Though she clearly knew it was wrong to meet Lin Yi privately, her reason compelled her not to associate with Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi had nearly taken her life before. Had it not been for me back then, she would have died by self-harm. Yet ultimately, reason could not conquer emotion. Whenever Lin Yi pleaded, she would convince herself. Just check how he's doing. Absolutely mustn't soften. But every time, memories overwhelmed her, drawing her closer to Linny. Meanwhile, she remained completely oblivious to my changes. Or perhaps noticed them but couldn't spare attention, for her heart had already strayed. Bai Huan said nothing, but broke down into uncontrollable sobs. Her regret consumed her, yet it was far too late. After Chang Shanshan's admonishment, Bai Huan stopped her heavy drinking, yet wandered like a lost soul. Lin Yi seized the opportunity to take care of her, recounting jokes and reminiscing about their past sweet moments just like in previous days, but Bai Huan showed no interest in responding. I learned all this later from friends. He and Chang Shanshan were actually a couple. My friend asked me, "Is there still a chance between you and Bai Huan?" After you left, she didn't have any further entanglement with Lin Yi. It's clear she truly loved you. I remained silent for a few seconds before replying calmly. No chance left. Spilt water cannot be retrieved. Moreover, my feelings for her had gradually faded during these days of separation. My friend sighed and didn't try to persuade me further. These past few days I've been establishing a new company overseas, renting temporary accommodation. My neighbor is a Chinese-American girl, Tang Cici. She's very enthusiastic, proactively inviting me for meals. Her cooking gives me the comforting feeling of never having left China. Cyan, come help me with this. Roll up my sleeves for me. I didn't think too much and obliged without question, but when I accidentally caught her profile view, an inexplicable flutter arose in my chest. Tang Cici was a girl with a personality completely different from Bai Huan's. Though not exactly gentle in temperament, she radiates infectious vitality, and her care for others comes from genuine warmth. Bai Huan, in contrast, is the picture of tenderness, a girl with her own rich inner world. Even after 5 years together, despite countless declarations of love, she always maintained an elusive quality I could never fully grasp. After dinner, I invited Tang Cici for a walk, but as we strolled down the path, we unexpectedly caught sight of a familiar figure approaching from the opposite direction. I thought I was mistaken at first, but as she drew closer, confirmation struck. It was Bai Huan. She had grown so gaunt after these weeks apart that she now seemed frail enough to be toppled by a breeze. Ian, I've finally found you. Bai Huan rushed forward, trying to throw herself into my arms, but I calmly sidestepped her embrace. Bai Huan's eyes flashed with a hint of disappointment, yet she forced a smile and said softly, "Ian, who is this? Won't you introduce us?" This pitiable appearance of hers had tugged at my heartstrings countless times before. Yet now, my heart remained completely calm. "I'm Tang Cici. Nice to meet you, Miss Bai." Tang Cici took the initiative to greet her, then looked at me. "Since you have a visitor, shall we meet another day?" But I grasped her hand. "No need. Say what you have to say directly." I gazed coldly at Bai Huan. Tang Cici appeared slightly surprised by my hand-holding, but after glancing at Bai Huan, she remained silent. Bai Huan's eyes instantly reddened. She looked at me with nearly begging eyes. "Ian, could we find somewhere private to talk? Consider this my plea." Her voice carried a tremble of tears, eyes glistening with moisture. I wanted to refuse, but Bai Huan abruptly burst into tears, drawing curious glances from people around us. Finally, I had no choice but to take Bai Huan to a quiet coffee shop to talk. Tang Cici proactively sat at another table. "If you have something to say, just say it." I gazed calmly at Bai Huan, no trace of affection in my eyes. Bai Huan, however, gazed at me tenderly, her expression somewhat infatuated. "Ian, I've completely broken things off with Lin Yi. We've already gotten the divorce certificate. Look." She pulled the document from her bag and showed it to me. The photo was still the same one from the marriage certificate. The first time I saw it, my heart felt pierced like a knife, the pain unbearable. Now seeing it again, I felt released. "And Ian, after leaving you, I haven't been able to eat or sleep well. The doctor said I'm severely malnourished. Every day I have nightmares about my car accident." She spoke between sobs, staring at me obsessively. "It was you who held me in your arms, who struggled to hail a car to rush me to the hospital. It was you who knelt on the ground and pleaded with the doctors to save my life. It was you who, when I discovered my disfigurement and wanted to commit suicide, risked danger to snatch the knife and save me. It was you who exhausted your savings and even sold blood to help restore my appearance. Ian, you are my life." Beside us, Tang Cici listened with tears welling up in her eyes, wiping the corner of her eye. Yet I remained unmoved. Her words indeed conjured many past scenes in my mind, but current me felt like a detached observer, numbed. "All that is in the past, Bai Huan. You can start your life anew. I don't need you to repay me either." Bai Huan seemed not to hear me, continuing to retrieve a document and hand it to me. Puzzled, my gaze fell upon the words, "Severe Depressive Disorder Diagnosis Report." Only then, looking at Bai Huan again, did I notice her mental state was truly different from before. Her entire being seemed dissociated. "Ian, if you don't reconcile with me, I'll die." I really will die. As Bai Huan spoke, her tears began cascading like a burst dam once more. I didn't know how to comfort her. In the past, I would have held her tightly and said, "It's okay. I'm here. I'll stay with you." But now, I no longer had the position to say that. I remained silent for a long time until Bai Huan's emotions stabilized, and she asked, "Ian, why aren't you speaking?" Only then did I make up my mind, handing Bai Huan all the records Lin Yi had sent to my phone. The one who can bring you happiness is Lin Yi. Bai Huan held my phone, staring at the screen flooded with Lin Yi's messages. Real-time updates synced every detail of their dates. Her pupils trembled violently, breath quickening as if she were struggling to catch it. Every photo framed her from Lin Yi's perspective. She peeled shrimp for him with her own hands, took him shopping for suits at the mall, revisited their alma mater together. They rediscovered their old love confessions. Time and time again, she used business trips as an excuse to secretly rekindle past intimacy with Lin Yi behind my back. I actually knew about all of this from the start. Lin Yi, why would you do this? Why? Bai Huan murmured to herself, suddenly stood up and rushed out. I feared something might happen to her and quickly chased after, only to find her collapsed on the street, surrounded by people. With no other choice, I had to take her to the hospital. I called Bai Huan's parents to pick her up. Mr. and Mrs. Bai, who had witnessed me risking everything to save Bai Huan before, had always regarded me as their own son-in-law. When they learned over the phone that I had broken up with Bai Huan and that she had obstinately pursued me to another country, Mr. and Mrs. Bai clearly harbored resentment towards me. But there was no time to explain further on the call. I simply said we would talk when they arrived. The next day, after Bai's parents arrived, to my surprise, Lin Yi also came. When he entered the hospital and saw Bai Huan lying unconscious on the hospital bed, he roared at me angrily. "What have you done to her? Why has Huan become like this?" I told her not to come, but she insisted. And now it's... My head was pounding from the noise when Mr. Bai suddenly snapped. "Shut up. It's not your turn to speak." He then dragged me into the hallway and questioned me about the situation. After I explained everything truthfully, Mr. Bai's face flushed with anger. "That damn girl. She has you yet doesn't cherish it. Actually causing so much trouble. But you've had 5 years together. Are you really going to give up just like that?" Mr. Bai said bitterly, his voice growing hoarser as he thought of Bai Huan's condition. "Help Huan one more time, please. This time she did it for you." I cut him off directly. "I'm sorry, but I have no obligation to do so. Now that you've taken her, I'll leave first." Just as I was leaving, Bai Huan suddenly lunged over and clung to me in a frenzy. "Don't go, Yin. I was wrong. Please forgive me, okay? I'm begging you." "Yin." I frowned and tried to shake her off, but she clung to me desperately. Lin Yi anxiously shouted in frustration from the side. Huan, how can you still like him when he's treated you so heartlessly? I'm willing to love you. I'm willing to stay with you." When he got emotional and tried to touch Bai Huan's hand, she viciously bit his arm, ripping off a chunk of flesh. "Oh." Lin Yi let out a miserable scream. I took advantage of the chaos to shake off Bai Huan and hurriedly left the hospital. As I exited, light rain was falling. Tang Cici stood across the road, holding an umbrella, smiling as she looked at me. In that moment, I felt all the oppression and irritations completely dissipate. "How is she?" Tang Cici asked me curiously. I replied calmly. "Not in good condition, but with her parents by her side, she should be fine." "Truly let go?" She pressed further. After hesitating for a few seconds, I proactively grasped her hand. Tang Cici's face flushed red, but she didn't pull away. What really happened between Lin Yi and Bai Huan back then? I slowly began to recount the past to her. Bai Huan was administered sedatives and fell asleep. Her parents didn't disturb me further, and 2 days later, they took her back to China. Bai Huan's depression worsened. She stopped speaking, refused to eat, and would only comply upon hearing my voice. These symptoms mirrored those she'd exhibited years before when Lin Yi abandoned her, except the object of her attachment had transitioned from being Lin Yi to becoming me. Lin Yi attempted to emulate my past role in helping Bai Huan overcome her depression, but Bai Huan unintentionally saw his phone, discovering his lie about not knowing about her disfigurement and depression before going abroad during the car accident. The truth was, at the time of the incident, Lin Yi had immediately called a friend for advice. "What should I do? Bai Huan got hit by a car saving me. Don't know if she's dead or disfigured. She's covered in blood. I can't afford to compensate her. I don't want to marry a freak either. Quick, give me some ideas." Lin Yi subsequently fled abroad that same day, disappearing without a trace for 5 years. 5 years later, when he heard that Bai Huan not only recovered from depression, but also grew increasingly beautiful, his heart was stirred. After returning, he started pursuing Bai Huan. "Lin Yi, why do you keep destroying my happiness over and over again? Why? I hate you, I hate you." Her condition worsened significantly, calling out my name in her sleep, sometimes also shouting Lin Yi's name. Bai Huan's parents turned gray-haired from worry within just 1 month. After suffering several rejections and seeing Bai Huan completely unwilling to accept him, Lin Yi flew into a rage of humiliation and attempted to force himself on her. During the struggle, Bai Huan scratched his face and he fell on to shattered glass pieces, resulting in permanent facial disfigurement. An ambulance eventually took him away. Since then, Lin Yi has carried a long scar on his face. With no money for plastic surgery, he tried to extort money from the Bai family. Mr. Bai knocked him unconscious with a blunt strike. Considering Lin Yi's previous attempt to assault Bai Huan, he dared not escalate the matter and slunk away defeated. Tang Cici and I held our wedding abroad. Returning home for the new year, while buying festive supplies at the supermarket, I unexpectedly encountered Bai Huan, who was being taken out by her parents for some relaxation. By now, Bai Huan had forgotten everything. Yet when she saw me, her eyes still lit up. She rushed over to greet me with a smile. "Hello, I'm Bai Huan." It wasn't until Mr. Bai caught up and apologized to me that he recognized me. Since Huan returned to China, her illness never fully healed. Though her memory has deteriorated, her overall condition has actually improved. "How have you been?" Mr. Bai no longer held resentment toward me, speaking more like family catching up on daily life. I briefly explained that Tang Cici and I had already married. When I looked at Bai Huan, I couldn't help but feel a pang of melancholy. The woman I had loved so deeply in the past had now become a mere stranger. I hoped that with her parents' care, she could fully recover from her illness and start anew. As I bid farewell to Mr. Bai Huan initially obediently followed him to leave. But after a few seconds, she suddenly rushed over and threw herself into my arms, holding tightly for several seconds. Just as I was about to push her away, she herself let go. Staring fixedly at me, she smiled. "Wishing you happiness, Yan." That voice made me dazed for a moment, thinking I had misheard, for when I looked at her again, there was only emptiness left in her eyes. As she and old Bai gradually faded into the distance, an indescribable feeling welled up in my heart. No longer dwelling on it, I took Tang Cici's hand. "Let's go."